Thank you for everyone who is sharing the live. Thank you very much. Scotty Sanigal, thank you very much. Mursal, nimekupokea salamu kutoka Pennsylvania. Claire, you have 2 minutes. Mafuaka, welcome. Kioko, Mwelu, karibu sana. Holy Virus, karibu. Keep sharing the like. I'm just about to start in 1 minute. Nancy Kamande, karibu. Nani anadai mafore nuku? Acha kuuza. 36, the poet, welcome. Brother Safi, karibu from Doha. Jonte, welcome. Lijakani, welcome. Thank you for the compliments. Ayoyo Yul, welcome. Chichi, Eliza, long time, Chichi. And we are the ones who started this shit, this TikTok space, and now it's been invaded by all these tribalists and ethnic bigots. Alvin, 101, thank you very much. Shin Joguna, welcome. At the moment, I'm just going to do a monologue, so we won't do with somebody. I would want to invite somebody, but at the moment, I want to niongee nitoke. Maribel, welcome. Lynn Munene, Mursal, 1 minute or 30 seconds remaining. We have 120. Nisitumie kizungu ngumu sawa. More, welcome. Scotty Sanigal, welcome. Huyu anasema ati ulienda shule moja na Rigiji, kwani wewe ni boomer? Are you a boomer? What are boomers doing on TikTok? Kenya, welcome. DJ GN, welcome. Let's go. Let's get this show on the road. So we are going to start from last year. We're going to start from before the protests. So before the protests, all of you know that we had been engaging with civic education on this platform. I used to wake up from 2022. Don't forget that TikTok was a very limited platform. They only had 30 seconds, and then they went to 1 minute video slots, and then they went to 3 minutes. So by the time they started and expanded their post offering to 3 minutes, I was there. I was offering civic education, but I had a different account. I was at Francis Gaitho, which was suspended. This app is very infiltrated by the government. Yoya, salimia watu wa kijei sana. So this app is very censored and controlled. So that account was suspended. And then I opened this one. I think, 2023, sometime in April or May. And so I continued shooting on these until they suspended the other one. And then now migrated to this. And then now there was a time, I think in 2023, I got so viral when I was talking about Mr. Beast. And I disputed the claims. I disputed the claims of building the number of boreholes that he was touting or he was purporting, because there was no evidence that he dug any borehole. But because all of you are so enamored by whiteness, you are enamored by Muzungus, anything a Muzungu tells you, you are so quick to believe. Even today, nobody has ever audited the boreholes that Mr. Beast purported to drill. You understand? So yeah, Papilash is telling me to come back permanently. Yeah, we can see about that. Now I have some time. There are some things that were holding me back, but I have some time on my hands. So we started doing civic education on this platform, where we sought to unravel our historical injustices and the source, because we didn't just get here as a country. This is a colonial experiment. So we sought to, connect the dots, and we did a really good job, because I used to wake up myself probably at 2 a.m. I wake up, I script, I shoot, I edit, I add captions, and then I upload. That whole stuff used to take me a minimum of 4 hours, because I didn't want anything of mine lost in context. So I used to, and then I put attachments. Don't forget, I'm like, these days I'm seeing TikTokers, you're just doing content on the fly. You're just doing, in fact, you're not even going the extra length of even attaching, some kind of evidence to your claims. You're just there, you come there and say, nasikia kuna huyu mtu ameonekana. Sijui huyu it's become so passive. And we used to put in a lot of work when we were doing this education, because we didn't want anything to go or anything to get lost in context or in meaning or in interpretation. So we started doing civic education, which culminated in what happened last year because of our consistency. I never thought that the message was getting through, but eventually I would see like in a month I'm getting like 4 million views, 4 million impressions, and my content was not like I wasn't twerking, I wasn't talking nonsense, I wasn't like this fat idiot called Kabuda. I wasn't doing that. I was putting my heart and soul in the process. And so it culminated last year. You're going to see on one of my TikToks. I think it was on 4 days before the first protest. 4 days before the first protest, you're going to see one of my calls to action. Calls to action is we are going to protest, we are going to occupy. Anyone that you're following who is not giving that call to action is a scam. Anyone who is not doing that is a sellout, is a fraud. You have to be very careful about influencers who are not giving that call to action. So the protests start. The protests start. And then at some point, they started with a lot of momentum. They started with a lot of momentum, with a lot of heat. And then at some point, just give me a second. At some point, things started going haywire. You remember that's when these influencers started just switching the narrative, switching the tone. People are saying, oh, we are going to have an X space. We are going to have huyu anaitwa Quad Toya. Quad Toya is only that I'm busy. I would have blocked you for telling me that siendangi maandamano. Well, my videos of maandamano are in this platform. In fact, let me block you. I don't like bullshit. I've blocked him. I've blocked Quad Toya. So I don't like people, casting aspersions or trying to sow the seed of doubt that I am not committed. I know my commitment. Seedless seed, thank you very much. I came to Diani, you heard me. So wewe tutapatana. So you have to look at Raila Odinga. What is the biggest motive? What is the biggest incentive? What is the biggest motive? What is the biggest incentive that could get Raila on the table? This is somebody who had spent his entire first 2 years hating on Ruto. In fact, I interviewed him. You're going to see my interview of Raila there, and he was just talking smack about Ruto. What could incentivize Raila Odinga to join Ruto? What could bring him on the table? What could be so compelling? What could be so enticing and juicy that could bring him to the table? Let me tell you one thing. Raila's hate for Kikuyus is historical. He's a historical and a generational hater of Kikuyus. Anything that Kikuyus would seem like it's benefiting Kikuyus, Raila would be on board to destroy Kikuyus. You need to understand that. You need to understand even the post-election violence. While William Ruto was the executor, he was the executor of the genocide. The brains behind the post-election violence was Raila Odinga, because his campaign platform at the time was 41 versus 1. So it was 41 communities versus Kikuyus. And you need to read the ODM briefs and minutes that I've shared severally on X, and they're on my Telegram channel, where they're talking. You can literally see how Raila's deep-seated hate for Kikuyus is rife. So the only way, Gemma, thank you very much. The only way that Ruto could have gotten Raila to the table is if he told him that these protests had one or the other, they had one association or the other with Mount Kenya. That was the only incentive. That was the only incentive that could have gotten Raila to the table, whereby now they said that by saving William Ruto, we are joining the government, we are joining the Kenya Kwisha shit show to save William Ruto, but we are saving him from what? So that Kikuyus don't benefit. So they needed to attach the protests to Kikuyus and to Mount Kenya, so as to get to rally politicians from all other communities. You see, now we are back to 41 verses 1. Now, never forget the fact that we kept saying we are leaderless, we are tribeless, we are partyless. We kept saying that. There was a TikToker, there was a content creator there called Anini Baraza. She did a viral video saying, Raila, stay at home. Let us finish the job. In fact, we can finish the job and hand this to you. You can imagine he sacrificed. He sacrificed presidency because the Gen Zs had told him, you stay at home. Don't interfere with whatever we are doing. You stay at home, and then we are going to give you, once we finish Kumalo, we are going to hand this presidency to you on a silver platter. He turned that down. Now, there must be some compelling reasons beyond money. Remember, money as a motive alone cannot drive somebody to abscond, to suspend their long-held values and beliefs. You understand? Money alone, there has to be some element of ideology. That's why even the people who go for political rallies or political meetings, before treetop, yes, we are having a critical thinking class. Before they pay you, if you are a politician, the politicians, what they do, before they give you the handouts, they don't just make it a habit to just land to just land in whatever and just dish money on the road. What they do is they call you for a meeting, and then they radicalize you, inspire you, motivate you, call you to action, but the money you'll be given afterwards. You understand? So here is the logic, here is the rationale. For Raila to come to the table, for Raila Odinga to come to the table and now decide, now we are going to save William Ruto, it was more than just money. There had to be a tribal, there had to be an ethnic element. And the ethnic element, the only way you can get Raila Odinga is if you are telling him, we are here to destroy Kikuyus, that if you join here, you understand? Mika is saying your wife might not only be living with you because of love, but your ideology. Yes. You understand? Raila Odinga, his hate for Kikuyus is so pronounced. It is so deep-seated. It is so deep-rooted that anywhere you just need to tell him about Kikuyus. And I need you to look at what Gaucho is saying. I need you to look at what Gaucho is talking. What Gaucho is saying is he's the gramophone. He's the amplifier of Raila's depravity and mental impotence. I need you to get it again. He's the amplifier, he's the gramophone of Raila's depravity and mental illness. Now, when Gaucho is talking at Bunge la Mwananchi, the comments that he makes could not have been procured one day or 1 week. This is somebody who has been sitting with Raila, listening to him, having this off-the-cuff discussion, because I have been in the same situation. I've been with those boomers when they want me to push their agenda. They don't just call you to push an agenda. They first tell you, kuja kwangu nyumbani, tuongee. And then you go there, you talk. And then they tell you, let's meet here in a bar. And, that bar is not interactive, or that session or that forum is not interactive. You understand? So whatever you're hearing Gaucho regurgitating, that is Raila talking off the cuff. Raila has a script that he plays to the public gallery whenever he wants to project himself as a African statesman or a nationalist or freedom fighter or whatever you tag that you want to identify with him. But what you heard from Gaucho, that is now the real Raila Odinga. What I repeat it again because I don't want anything to be lost in context. Whatever you are hearing from Gaucho, that is the mind of Raila Odinga in a very unconventional delivery mechanism. You understand? So, for William Ruto to bait, for William Ruto to bait Raila Odinga, for him to bait Raila Odinga to join the Kenya Kwanza government and put a block on the maandamano of last year, there had to be something more than money. There had to be something more than cash. And it is deep rooted in the ideology. And the ideology of Raila Odinga is simple. Anything that will destroy the Kikuyu community, please allow me to land. Please allow me to land. It will only be a couple of more minutes. Allow me to land. I'm getting somewhere with my conversation. It will all connect. I'm not Mbanya, who's just coming out of the blue to say Gema for Gema. It will all connect. It will all add up. If you are following, this is the 20 minutes, the most important 20 minutes of your life. So it will connect. Why do you have to go around? I have to go around because I don't want anything to be lost in context. I don't want to be misquoted. You hear when? That's why I'm going around in circles. I have to start from the history, because you can never know where you're going until you know where you've been. You understand? We will never know where we are going, because if we don't make sense of what is happening, you're going to get lost again. You're going to get triggered. You're going to get disrupted, so that the next time tunarudi kwa maandamano, we will be focused. Because last time we were so distracted, easily gaslit. Now we will be focused, and that focus cannot be achieved when you don't know the shenanigans, when you don't know what is happening under the table. You understand? So this Wayne, I can tell whatever agenda you're trying. So I can tell whatever you are trying. Please don't try anything funny on the comment section. I block immediately. Yeah? If you want to push your agenda, push on your own timeline. Don't come and push an agenda here. Don't come and push an agenda on the comment section. Please, you can push it on your own page. Here, whatever. I don't want to switch off the comments. Listen, I'm not that guy. But you won't push an agenda here parallel to mine. You won't push an agenda parallel to mine. Okay, guys are saying I switch off the comments, so I don't know where I go, because I can see. I can't see the settings for switching off the comments, but I can't see the settings, but I want to. Please don't push an agenda here. Don't push an agenda. Me, I'm coming to give you whatever I have analyzed. You can discuss about my comments. Please don't come to give your ideas here. I think, myself, I spend a lot of time thinking. So, Belana, you are telling me to focus. I cannot focus when I can see agendas, and we are fighting everything, land, sea, and air. So whatever I'm doing is important. I've done this work severally. So please, saa zingine usinifunze kazi. So Raila's belief system is deeply rooted in anti-Kikuyu sentiment. You understand? Raila's belief system, his entire DNA structure, is built on anti-Kikuyu sentiment. So anything that involves killing, displacing, mass murdering, depriving, Raila is on board. Again, if you go on X, you look at Gabriel Oguda, you look at GDP Kaluma, that MP from that Homa Bay area. You look at December. There's a Twitter called there's a tweet called December, and then there's another one called Collins Bay. If you look at those, and Robert Alai, if you look at those 5 accounts, dozens, they regurgitate what Raila Odinga's head. You understand? That is Raila Odinga's thinking. So you need to understand. So Raila's belief system entirely, his DNA structure is hardwired with anti-Kikuyu sentiment. So the only way that William Ruto could have convinced Raila Odinga to come to the table was baiting him with anti-Kikuyu sentiment. Now, how did he do that? How did he execute that? Now, me, I was arrested. My first arrest was on July 15th. My second arrest was on August 7th. My third arrest was on October 22nd. You understand? Sorry, just a minute. So, thank you very much. Chill. So, whatever. Just a minute. So, Raila's entire DNA infrastructure is routed in anti-Kikuyu sentiment. You understand? It is routed. It is firmly routed in that. So, that was the only way he could have gotten, William Ruto could have gotten Raila to the table, is if he told him, or if he associated the protests with Kikuyus. Now, how did he do it? Number one, they arrested Justin Muturi's son. Justin Muturi's son has never been involved in the protests, has never spoken anything about the protests, has never even done anything related, protest related. I know him, he's my friend Leslie. He has never done anything related to the protests. You understand? So they arrested him to craft the illusion that Justin Muturi was using his son to infiltrate and to manage and to manipulate the protests of last year. Are we together? Are we on board? Are we together? Please, I need you to respond to the comments where I want to draw the sequence of events. You understand? So William Ruto needed to conjoin the protests with Mount Kenya so as to bait the opposition, which would have saved him from either us banning parliament or number two, from impeachment or vote of no confidence. So he had to convince them beyond a shadow of doubt that the protest is a Mount Kenya initiative. You as well as everyone else knows, hakuna mahali wa Kikuyu walikuwa on that protest. It was young people, it was Gen Zs, it was everyone. We were united for the first time in Kenyan history as tribeless, partyless, leaderless. But for him to bring Raila to the table, for him to convince him, he needed to bait him. You see, everyone, you have a way of being gaslit. Everyone has your own weak point. For instance, if you are a lady and you have a husband or a boyfriend, an abusive boyfriend, they have a way they gaslight you to now towing their line. They have a way they can do something, especially if you're in an abusive setup. You have your own weakness and trigger mechanisms that gaslight you into now doing something rash, doing something bad. For instance, your partner can tell you something, can text you something that will make you go crazy, go violent, go do. So Raila's trigger mechanism is Kikuyus. Raila hates Kikuyus with a passion. So the only way that William Ruto could have got him on the table is to connect the protest to Kikuyus or to Mount Kenya. So number one, they got Justin Muturi's son. They arrested him for no good reason. Justin Muturi's son is apolitical. He does not even care about politics. I've told you, he's my friend. He does not care about politics. He has never spoken about politics. He has his childhood friends who just happen to be politicians because his father and their fathers were friends. So those are his networks. That is all. But him, even the time I've tried to engage him in political discourse, he does not care. But they needed something. So he was at a restaurant called Al Fajiri. They arrested him, or they abducted him. So that was their first step in trying to associate the protests with Mount Kenya, because they needed to hoodwink. Because we are back to 41 verses 1, which he successfully engineered in 2007. leading to the post-election violence. So 41 versus 1 was 41 communities versus Kikuyus. It was as simple as that, or versus Mount Kenya, whatever you want to think about it. It's called Ibrahim Diaz. Thank you very much for endorsing my presidential bid. Thank you very much. Welcome, Gen Z Buddy. I need Gen Z Buddy. I like your initiative on social media, and I need you to make sense of this. So the only way, I keep repeating this because I need it imprinted in your heads. The only way that William Ruto could have gotten Raila Odinga to the table beyond money, because money on its own is not an incentive, it's not a motivator. If you think that you're buying somebody with money, if you think that you're buying your wife or your husband or your workers with money, at the end of the day, they will disappoint you, because money is not whatever, is not grounding enough as an ideology. There has to be sentiment. There has to be ideology in itself. There has to be purpose. So for Raila to be able to convince, for Ruto to be able to convince Raila Odinga to suspend his common sense, everything, the values that he stood for, everything that he had said, to momentarily forget all the Luos that had been killed in the protests that were happening in 2023, for him to suspend that, he needed to bring him to the table with something more than just money, and that is what? That is anti-Kikuyu sentiment. So number one, they arrested Justin Muturi's son. That couldn't, obviously that didn't work well, because now you arrest the son, you're not arresting the father. Why didn't you arrest the father to begin with? You need to understand the game that is being played here, and everyone is on board. Why didn't you arrest the father to begin with? Why did you arrest the son? Now, me, I was arrested. When they first got me, the first question they were always asking me, have you ever spoken to Gachagua? That was the first question they asked you. Well, that's the first question DCI they were asking me. Have you ever spoken to Rigathi Gachagua? I have no interest in ever speaking to Rigathi Gachagua. I've never. But that was the first question. So I was, because Gen Z Bud is asking, surely Gachagua, because they needed to perpetuate the myth that this movement was not organic. It was not young people who rose on themselves based on their own convictions. They needed to associate it with somebody. So it was, mine was Gachagua or Wanjigi. But the one who they were mostly concerned with was Gachagua. Now, the worst part is they were not getting Gachagua. They were not arresting Gachagua. They were not doing anything else. Yes, they impeached him, but that's as far as it goes. So I was very confused. I was very confused. Why are you associating with me with this son of a bitch called Gachagua? I've never met him. I don't like him. I hate the way he appears on TV, just spewing verbal diarrhea, not saying anything of importance. I hate how he distracts the masses with his rubbish. So I was very confused. Have you ever met Gachagua? Have you ever spoken to Gachagua? There you go. Treetop is asking a very important question. Why not arrest Gachagua's son? They arrested everyone. Trust me, ask even the boys who were kidnapped the other day, Akina Kibet Bull. That's the first question they're asking you when ukiabdaktiwa. That's the first question they're asking you. Do you know Gachagua? Have you ever met Gachagua? Now, as if on cue, you remember sometime in July, Gachagua was in Mombasa. He hosted a press conference where he was talking about Nurdin Haji and this protest that Nurdin Haji did not inform Ruto. I don't know, Nurdin Haji needs to go, blah, 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 blah. In essence, and it was a live presser and it was on mainstream media and he was still the DP. In essence, he was trying, using that press conference, to insinuate himself as the leader of the Gen Z. You understand? Reborn Solomon is there, has asked the question I am getting to. Could Gachagua be the project of the same system? Wait, I'm getting there. You have already seen it, but let's get there together. Let's, ni safari. he hosted a very fiery press conference. Yenye press conference ilikuwa na tension. If you remember, hiyo press conference ilikuwa na tension. Ati, hey, oh, I don't know what, NIS, hey, Nurdin Haji, I don't know what. It was a very scripted presser. He was trying to create himself or to fashion himself as associated with the Gen Zs. And because of that presser, because of that press conference afterwards, it was immediately after that that Raila started collaborating with Ruto. Because now Raila was told, angalia, unaona hii kitu ni ya Wakikuyu. Angalia, wewe kujeni muniokoe, come and save me, because Wakikuyu wakiingia we nyinyi mumeisha. So the biggest problem and our biggest undoing, our biggest liability has been none other than Rigathi Gachagua. Because had Rigathi Gachagua gone quiet after the protest started, aende quiet na anyamaze, like all other cabinet secretaries and everything, anyamaze tu, angoje. There was no need for him to host that presser, number one. There was no need for him to do the heightened political activities that he was doing, number two. So and that's why I'm telling you, it cannot be a coincidence. This was planned. Remember, the Ruto and Raila fallout between 2017 and 2022. Remember, all of that was choreographed to create a freedom fighter in Ruto. He has never been a freedom fighter. He doesn't stand for any values. But to create a freedom fighter in him, which would have then endeared himself to the masses. So don't be confused. Aren't now Ruto and Raila together? Isn't now Ruto and Uhuru together? Isn't now Uhuru's people in the cabinet? Don't you have them now? Mutahi Kagwe, Lee Kinyanjui, all these other bastards who looted from us then, aren't they in cabinet right now? So why would you doubt, or why would you undermine, or whatever, you downplay the significance of the system in foisting the government, first of all, and their own opposition? You understand? So at the end of the day, you're still a winner. And here the game is for splitting votes. So they deployed Rigathi Gachagua to be controlled opposition. I call it controlled opposition. They deploy him, he starts ranting, and then Raila comes, he takes the bait. He takes the bait, Raila, and now they create this whole thing called an impeachment charade. Mohammed Amin, Kenya has no opposition. Yes, Kenya is a one-party state. Kenya has been a one-party state since 2013. You need to understand that. So, Gema 001, when I say that they are whatever, I'm not saying it for you now to jump it and to run it as the agenda. It's not the problem of the tribes, it's the problem of the system. The system foists whoever it wants and whoever it will gain and oppress. Understand? So they got Raila Odinga on board. They impeached Rigathi Gachagua. Now Rigathi Gachagua has been facilitated with the funds to do campaigns similar to a presidential campaign right now. Now, assuming worst case scenario, we get to 2027, which I highly doubt. I don't think even Ruto has any shelf life more than 2 months. But assume worst case scenario, we get to 2027. Anyone who is mounting the kind of campaign that Rigathi is doing right now, we would have gone broke. You understand? Anyone who is doing the kind of campaign that Rigathi is doing right now, from now to 2027, you would have gone broke. For you to mount the kind of campaign that you're doing, it has to be government money. I saw him in Kitengela. Kitengela, he had hired people to come on the road, and then they are simulating and creating the illusion that he's very popular. You saw him last week in Kitengela. That kind of logistics, that kind of mechanism can only be sponsored by GOK. You understand? That kind of logistics can only be sponsored by government of Kenya. So they deployed him to create this illusion of opposition. They created this illusion of now we are opposed to this guy, blah, blah, blah. But Essentially, they are all working for one and the same person. Now, look at what Akina Mbanya are doing. Let's fast forward to today. Look at what Akina Mbanya are doing. Look at what Gaucho is doing. Now, if we just a minute. There is that guy. What's this guy called? On Erico. Let me show you. So, fast forward to today. This is what Gaucho is speaking. This is what Gaucho is saying. You can feel the anger. This is what Mbanya is saying. He's saying gamer for gamer. I want to challenge him. If he feels like he's so gamer, I want to challenge him to a fundraising online, and we see how much he'll get from the gamer people now that he's running on that gamer sentiment. You understand? So fast forward to what they are talking about today, the tribalism. Who else who has catalyzed tribalism in our setup, in our discourse, in our public discourse? Because don't forget, last year we were on an intellectual high. We're talking about debt, we're talking about taxes, we're talking about the finance bill, we're talking about the items there, we're talking about the things they were taxing, especially women, the sanitary pads and everything. Yeah? You understand? Let's remember momentarily of how we were on an intellectual high. We were never talking about tribes. Now, who has exacerbated, who has thrusted the tribal conversation in the country? It is none other than Rigathi Gachagua. He's just been going saying Murima, Murima. Me, I'm a Murima guy. Me, I'm a Kikuyu. He does not speak on my behalf. He will never get my vote. I know nobody in Mount Kenya will vote for him, but he has manufactured the consent that he's the kingpin even before us, we have anointed him. He has manufactured the consent that he's the kingpin based on bribing a few influencers. So who is the one who has escalated tribal conversation, tribal discourse when it had disappeared completely? Remember in June, we were tribeless, partyless, leaderless. It had disappeared completely. Who has done it? It is Rigathi Gachagua. And so he has paid all these influencers. There is an idiot called Jim Jue on X. There's another idiot called Cornelius Kiprono who faked his own abduction. He has exacerbated and got these guys to constantly make him trend and everything, just to heighten the tribal sentiment, which is not for the benefit of us Kikuyus or Mount Kenya people. Its benefit and its sole purpose is to galvanize other communities against Mount Kenya. And so it will forever keep Raila Odinga on the table. For as long as Gachagua is making noise, which is where now I want you to see that it is scripted, for as long as Rigathi Gachagua is making noise touting Murima, even when Murima, it is counterproductive to Murima's interest, for as long as he's going there masquerading and telling people that now I saw him when he had gone to Machakos, was it somewhere in Ukambani? And then he says, unajua hii kitu ni game ya maths, tukishikana wa Kikuyu. He's talking about tribal arithmetic, which is irrelevant because don't forget that 8 million Kenyans boycotted the last elections. Another 4 million did not register to vote. So whatever metrics that they may use, even if they rely on the tribal arithmetic, they do not have the numbers. Because 8 million Kenyans boycotted the elections. Ruto won with 7.1 million. If those 8 million alone get in, none of them is winning. So those tribal arithmetics are null and void. They are irrelevant. You understand? So who has exacerbated tribal discourse, tribal sentiment in the country when it was least necessary, least needed? It is none other than Rigathi Gachagua. Now, do you think he's doing it without the knowledge of the state? Me, I just did a few tweets. Those guys had pulled up to my crib. You understand? Just a few tweets. This guy is moving and campaigning weekend. He hajawai guzwa. His children have never been arrested. His wife has never been arrested. She's now in Seattle, USA. They are moving, they are living their lives freely. But the very people who have nothing to do with, whatever he's preaching, now that is us. Kila mtu alishikwa. Na kitu ya kwanza ulikuwa unashikwa, self-made had asked a very important question. Who told you Ruto won? You understand? So even when they rigged and did everything, they only got 7.1 million and 8 million Kenyans had boycotted. So Gachagua hajawahi shikwa, mimi nimeshikwa kwa sababu ya tweets 2, 3, 4. Huyu mwingine Kibet Bull ameshikwa kwa sababu ya memes 3, 4. Ati ameweka. Wale wengine walishikwa kwa sababu ya kuweka Ruto kwa jeneza. Understand? Karen, we are not talking about IBC. We don't care about IBC even if it's not formed. That's not our agenda. That's the agenda for boomers. As we want the system to come down, we are going to make a new IBC after they are gone. Kelvin is asking, why was I asked if I spoke to Gachagua? Because they were perpetuating the myth that the protests were sponsored. And if you remember William Ruto's speech on June 25th, he was alluding to the fact that they are foreign people, so they started with the Ford Foundation, and they started with who, then they started with their local people, but they were zeroing in on Gachagua because he was the bait to bring Raila Odinga, Richard Onyonka, and all other politicians who hate Mount Kenya and Kikuyus to the table. That was the only galvanizing factor, was that they had to associate the protest to Kikuyus. You as well know, you and I as well know that this was a universal initiative. Everyone was joining us. Everyone was part of us. Everyone, we were all together. We were all united. But they needed to bring, remember, Abizwena, I've seen you. Welcome. That's my comrade. That's my sister, Abizwena. Love you very much, Abi. Welcome. Everyone needs to know, Abizwena, we started this shit together. This civic education, we have been tumetoka mbali. So these are the people we should hold in high regard, not the Aokos that you're seeing the other day. And I'm going to talk about Aoko because I know it's a funny issue to all of you. So the only unifying factor, the only galvanizing component that could have brought other communities to the table to save William Ruto was their universal hate for Kikuyus. And you just need to look at what Joho has said about Kikuyus in the past. You just need to look at what Kingi has said about Joho in the Kikuyus about in the past. Oparanya, everyone in the opposition who was baited to join the government to save William Ruto, they are there united by their common hate for Kikuyus. So it's not about money. It's not about positions. While they are good, what has united them there is their common hate. Now, it may be a bit appeal for many of you to swallow, but indeed, Rigathi Gachagua has been dispatched by the same system to go and create this semblance of whatever, Mount Kenya supremacy or Mount Kenya exceptionalism, so that it can be used to gaslight other communities against the Kikuyus. You're telling me to talk about Mbanya. Fast forward. I have already fast forwarded to now what Gaucho is talking about, what Mbanya is talking about, what Githaiga is talking about. That heightened emotional, tribal rhetoric is meant. It doesn't benefit me as a Kikuyu. Kikuyu, it doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit me one bit. It is meant, you are not the audience. The Kikuyus are not the audience of his messaging. Yes, he could have a few there staged and pretending to have an organic conversation, but the Kikuyus are not the audience. The audience is other communities who will now see, oh, this is what Kikuyus are planning. Oh, so Kikuyus can be so selfish to believe themselves that they are exceptional. So what do we do? Let's keep on isolating them. Let's keep on balkanizing them. You understand? But the tribal arithmetic is irrelevant. But it is only relevant to the old guard and to keep Raila Odinga and other opposition members on the table to save Ruto from impeachment or no vote of no confidence or whatever you want to call it. Treetop is asking, what's in it for Gachagua to betray Kikuyus? These guys, there is a section of Kikuyus who always gain when they go against the grain. Let me repeat it again. Let me repeat it for you to understand. There is a section of Kikuyus since time immemorial, from the days of the colonialists, when we had the home guards and we had the sellouts, and we used to call them tokonias. Tokonias was because they were wearing sacks and they would go to identify Mau Mau co-conspirators or supporters or affiliates at parades, identification parades. So they would go dressed in sacks, which had small eyes and a nose here. So since time immemorial, we've always had a class or a section of Kikuyus who've always benefited by going against the grain. So anyone knows, once you go to the Kikuyu community and tap into their greed, the greed of a few individuals, you will get them to run your errands and at the expense of the community. So Gachagua, whatever, Abizuana has gifted me a perfume. Thank you, Abi. Everyone, Gachagua knows that he will never gain in a government which is a merit-oriented environment. Other people are people like David Ndi, Mutahi Ngunyi, SK Masharia was in the Moi government, Kamodho JJ, Peter Kenneth, Jeremiah Kioni. Those are people who benefit when they are going against the grain. You understand? So Gachagua is one of them. He knows in a merit-oriented environment, government of national unity, there is nothing for him. That's why he has to keep on touting Murima, because that's the only thing he brings to the table. He has no intellect. He's not an industrialist of repute. He's nothing. So the system has allowed him to continue perpetuating that anti-Kikuyu sentiment. You understand? So that, not for our benefit, he has never gone to the table when he was in office to discuss about our interests. In fact, if you read, I challenge you, after this, you go and Google, you're going to see Rigathi Gachagua. You're going to see Rigathi Gachagua was the guy behind the mess in the coffee sector. You're going to find Rigathi Gachagua was the guy with the mess in the tea sector. So the very sectors that have profited the Mount Kenya region were the first ones that he attacked. So he's not there for Mount Kenya people, but to perpetuate the myth, to create a semblance, to manufacture the consent that he's the kingpin. He has to constantly tout Murima, because that's the only thing he brings to the fucking table. You understand? You understand? So it's not even divide and rule. It's just tapping into people's naivety, people's whatever. They tap into our naivety, and because I've told you they needed bait to trap Raila Odinga beyond money, because we already had offered Raila the presidency. Are you understanding? There was this TikToker called Anini Baraza. She told Raila, stay at home, let us finish the job you have fought for us, let us finish. So for Raila to suspend his dreams of presidency, because we told him, let's get rid of Ruto and then we are going to install you as the president. Now for him to suspend that, who is this? Gamer 001 has given me a heart. Thank you. I don't even know how to retrieve the gifts. So thank you. I just think it's a cool thing. For Raila to suspend, there must be a very strong conviction. Imagine somebody is offering you the presidency and you say no. My first objective. These kids have already committed verbally that they are going to give me the presidency once they get rid of Ruto. They have told me all I have to do is sit at home and they are going to finish Kumalo for me and they give me the presidency on a silver platter. Now, for you to discard that so as to save Ruto, what do you imagine they kept for him on the table beyond money? It was something more. And what was it? It was anti-Kikuyu sentiment. Because Raila hates Kikuyus. Raila dreams. Raila's biggest dream today would be all Kikuyus to die, to be exterminated from the face of the earth. I don't know what historical reasons stemming from Jaramogi Odinga with Kenyatta and him with Kibaki. I don't know what historical reasons that he knows or he has, or which are so compelling to make him hate the community like that. But that is the biggest trigger. I have told you, everyone has a trigger. You have a trigger that somebody close to you knows. There's somebody who knows, nikinyamazia huyu, nikipoeshia simu, atakasirika. So they will do that intentionally to get you on the precipice of going crazy. If they want, if they wield that power over you, they are going to use whatever bait that they have to get you to implode. You understand? So Idris anasema ati what if Gen Z thing is also a system power strategy? Don't like stupid questions. Let me block you. Ask those stupid questions to your mother. You understand? So what could be very compelling to make Raila Odinga suspend his presidential dreams and ambitions so as to join the table to protect Ruto, to defend Ruto? The only thing that is powerful and strong enough for Raila Odinga to suspend his dreams and aspirations, what was so strong was his hate for anti-Kikuyu. So he was told, hii Gen Z yote unajua ni Kikuyu wamepanga, unajua hii kitu ni Gachagua wamepanga, anataka anitoe akuwe president. Hey, oh my God, no, I did not know. Oh, you mean? So it is easy to gaslight. I can see Mbanya has joined with his anti-Kikuyu rhetoric. Welcome. We are here. We want to convert. We want to convert everyone so that we can be on the same journey. We understand that many of you could be infiltrated and misused, but we need to ensure that we have a critical mass of focused people who can see, who can read through the fine print. So the only way they could have gotten Raila Odinga to the table was through anti-Kikuyu sentiment. That is the only way. They got him there. They started perpetuating the myth that Rigathi Gachagua, and they were so convinced, like William Ruto was so convincing, but he was not speaking to us on June 25th. We were not the audience. The audience was politicians from opposition stronghold, because he kept saying what? That this thing has been funded. This thing has been supported by some people, even some people from outside the country. But all of that was just a script to trigger and to bait other politicians to coalesce against Mount Kenya. So once they came, then they said, number one, let's protect William Ruto, first of all, from this onslaught of the Gen Z who are being funded by Rigathi Gachagua. I've never met or spoken to Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua does not inspire me one bit. He has never said anything that I felt compelled to retweet, to repost. Nothing of substance. So why would I, when I was arrested by DCI, why would they ask me whether I have ever spoken to Gachagua, and they have never picked up his sons? They have never picked him up. They have never picked his wife up. Simu la pi zikachukuliwa. All because all because of this guy. Ati wanatafuta evidence kuona kama nilikuwa naongea na wao. I swear to one God. I swear I challenge you to call anyone mwenye ashahadbakiwa. Umuulize kitu ya kwanza DCI wanakuuliza ni nini ama hao NRS. They were just looking for something that would connect him to Rigathi, because they needed to convince the idiots in the opposition that the protests were associated with Mount Kenya. You understand? Saying they tried to kill Gachagua in Mount Kenya. This is not a Gachagua sympathy party. If you want to extend your sympathy to Gachagua, you can do it on your own timeline. If we didn't have the element of Gachagua constantly campaigning, prematurely campaigning, we would not be having the tribal sentiment, the escalated tribal sentiment that Gaucho and Mbanya are using, are escalating with. You understand? So all of these things, the offshoots of Gachagua's verbal diarrhea, the offshoots and the whatever, the resultant or cumulative effect of Gachagua's verbal diarrhea is now these smaller offshoots we are seeing in the likes of Mbanya. You understand? Mbanya, Gaitho, these are the idiot called Lady Jacqueline. You know, you guys follow just anyone too mwenye amejitokeza. Somebody without brains, somebody without logic or common sense. You just follow them too. Fwa. Fwa. So, just a minute. I have to drag. It makes you drag. Oh, I had to drag. Sorry, I haven't done this live in a long while, so I've seen I have to drag to show that I'm still online. So, Akinambanya are the offshoots. They are the cumulative effect of the scripted and choreographed ethnic tour of Rigathi Gachagua around the country. You understand? So while you guys are promoting Rigathi Gachagua as even an option in the next election, what he's doing is he's making it difficult for us to realize our objectives. Our objective is Ruto must go, and institutional and structural reform. You understand? That is our objective. So who has gotten us? Kengori is telling us to speak about Gaucho. Who has emboldened Gaucho to speak the way he's speaking? It is none other than Rigathi Gachagua, because he appointed himself as a spokesman of the region without any mandate of the people. He made himself the spokesman. He made himself the kingpin. I was never consulted. I was never done what? Why are you telling us to whatever? Now, secondly, ever since Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, he has never spoken about Ruto must go. He has never rallied sympathetic members of parliament to the cause of impeaching or voting a vote of no confidence against Ruto. But he's just gaslighting people every day over the weekends. He's not giving the punch. He's not giving the right message. Every time you listen to him, like now, for instance, when he was talking about the abductors, he just said a name called Abel. He just said a name called Abel. We had to do the dirty work of finding out the other information. You understand? He just says Abel because he's not there to burn bridges with Ruto. He's not there to challenge the establishment. He's there to gaslight you. He's there to bait you. He's there to distract you. He's there to derail you. You understand? So we have moved from an intellectual high of discussing taxes and whatever in the budget and everything and everything that in between, and now we have been reduced to tribal arithmetic. All because of who? All because of Rigathi Gachagua. So isn't it plausible that he has been deliberately deployed to serve this very purpose? You understand? Isn't it, do you think it's a coincidence that he is well funded to hire, thank you very much, the Don, he's well funded to hire influencers? There's Cornelius Rono, there's Jim Jue, there's all these people who promote him on X and who promote him on TikTok. They don't do it for free. It's not cheap either. You understand? It's not cheap either. But do you think that it is happening by coincidence? I told you, anyone who wants to vie for president, even Trump himself, Trump started his campaign full throttle last year, August, which was more or less like 4 months to the elections. He never did a rally before that. He never did a campaign before that. So this guy who is doing rallies and is ready to do rallies between now and 2027, where is this money coming from? Have you asked yourself that question? This guy who has influencers and tweets on his payroll to constantly regurgitate his stupidity and mental impotence, where is he getting the funding for that? How much did he steal? Even if he stole 100 billion, which is impossible, maximum cash, I believe, he might have assets, he might be asset rich, but the cash that Rigathi might have come out with cannot be more than 20 billion. With the kind of campaigns that he has already unleashed, with the kind of live TV interviews for them to have, they come to his home in Wamunyoro, you think it is free? You think it is free? For him to spend all that money, you think it is his money? You think rich people spend their money like that? That is government money. For him, he's ready to unleash, to roll out a campaign between now and 2 years. He's ready to sustain it. You genuinely believe it is his money? He's going to his bank account and withdrawing? Sorry. You know, once you get these accounts with no profile picture and whatever, those are the ones which are set by NIS and whatever. I get so many of them on X. I blocked like 5,000 of them on X. So do you think regarding Gachagua, all the media tours that he's been going, you think they've been free? There was this lady who's called Sandra Kimani, who was complaining that they have not been paid by, what are these guys called? Affordable bloggers of State House. And so she was talking about, for every interview that she goes, whether it is radio, whether it is TV, you have to go and leave something for the person who has interviewed you. You have to leave 3K or 5K. So you can imagine, for the wall-to-wall coverage that Rigathi Gachagua has been receiving, how much he has paid. You can imagine. Just try and put an amount on it. So you think that this money in here anaenda kwa bank? No, first of all, if he had stolen money and he had stashed it, a genuine government which is cracking down on him would have cracked down on his money, would have blocked his finances, his assets, and everything. Nothing of the sort has happened. He is moving around the country, which shows that he has been allowed. As imebidi twende chini ya maji kwa sababu ya tweet moja mbili tatu. Him who is doing significant damage is allowed. That's what I'm telling you. Rigathi is the source of the stupidity that you are seeing with Mbanya and Githaiga. The source is Rigathi, because now there is like a baton. Sasa baton ya kushindana ujinga. Sasa mimi ni Gachagua, shika hii Mbanya. Nini hivyo. You understand? Rigathi is the source, is the engineer, is the initiator. Because once again, back in June, we were discussing taxes, we were discussing the whatever debt position, we were on an intellectual high. How we moved from that to this is none other than Rigathi Gachagua, because he turned his impeachment into a Gen Z affair. As we were not involved with him. In fact, what did we say when he was being impeached? We said, kufa dereva, kufa makanga. If you're getting rid of the makanga, why leave the driver? Get rid of both sons of bitches. You understand? So, whatever. We were never about whatever. Rigathi Gachagua has desperately then tried to insinuate and associate himself with Gen Z. Even when he goes to meetings, asema, unaona Gen Z, tukiweka kura ya Gen Z. Anaweka kura ya nani? Kuna Gen Z yote yako hapa ametuma ati anasema atavotia nini? Rigathi. Kuna yeyote? So, we have moved from that intellectual high and come low because of one and only Rigathi Gachagua. So, Mbanya, when he's doing whatever he's doing, the person who laid the groundwork for that ethnocentric sewage to spew from his mouth is none other than Rigathi Gachagua. Well, back to my original analysis, that Rigathi Gachagua has been the biggest liability of the movement. He has been the biggest problem that we have had. He has been the biggest problem that we have faced. If he didn't exist, we could have executed June 25th. But he, in his infinite stupidity, saw it wise now to start giving press conferences. He was paying people to say that he's the one behind Gen Z, but it was all choreographed to ensure that they galvanize the opposition politicians. Yeah? This guy is saying that I will ban the country one day. I have so much clout. My God. If I ever have such clout, I will use it for good. I will use it for good. I will not use it for whatever. Had Rigathi Gachagua stayed behind the scenes, had he not revealed himself, because there was no need to. In fact, Rigathi Gachagua, if you remember his comments in May, he had told MPs that if you don't vote for the finance bill, we are going to deny CDF to your constituency. Google this while we are still online. He said it with his mouth that if you don't vote for the finance bill 2024, we are going to deny CDF to your constituency. So he has moved within 2-3 months. He has moved from that guy to this other guy, to the freedom fighter, to the kingpin of Murima, to now at speaking for the people. How easily distracted, how easily baited, how easily fooled, how naive could you be to believe that he has ever been for the people? He has never been. You understand? So Rigathi Gachagua has been purposely deployed to undermine the movement. Until you reconcile your conscience to that fact, you will be gaslit by Mbanya. You shouldn't be gaslit by Mbanya. You shouldn't be gaslit by all this. If Mbanya is so, let him open a business and tell us how it has thrived because of just gamer numbers. You understand? It has to be very, very strong in your mind that everything you're seeing is smoke and mirrors. All of this is a scripted shit show. All of this is a scam, crafted to keep us trapped in this cycle of debt and poverty and whatever we want. You understand? You understand? Once you open your eyes, you understand? Once you open your eyes and now see people like Rigathi for what they are, then you will be better armed to tackle them. You won't be gaslit when you see Gaucho. When you see Gaucho, you won't be gaslit. For me, he doesn't gaslight me, but inafika mahali naona a lot of people are being gaslit. A lot of people are taking the bait. So I have to but me on my own, he cannot gaslight me. Even if he was to talk about Kikuyus over there, I would not feel offended one bit because I know this is Raila's brain. So Raila, to justify to himself, you need rationalization. I love using relationships because they are relationships, and there is a reason why they are called relationships, because they are relatable. It is the lowest and simplest form of human interaction. It is relationships. I like using relationships. Now, when you go to cheat on your partner, when you go to cheat on your partner, you have to have something called circumstantial rationalization. You have to convince yourself, first of all, your partner has not wronged you, has not done anything to you, but you decide, I want to cheat. Be it male or female. You have to convince yourself something. You have to dehumanize your partner. You have to dehumanize them. You have to say, bibi yangu hata hapikangi vizuri, bwanangu hata anikulangi. You have to craft a rationalization mechanism that will justify you to go and cheat on your partner. So you have to dehumanize your partner. So Gaucho, for Raila Odinga to rationalize the fact that he suspended his conscience, his long-held belief, he suspended all of that to go and save a war criminal. To rationalize that, he has to dehumanize Kikuyus through the characters you see, like Gaucho and whatever. And everyone else you see, Kaluma, December, and everyone. He has to dehumanize them, to convince himself, first of all, and his supporters. First of all, his supporters are not boarding. Yesterday, I posted Gaucho's number on X. The people who are sending him messages kumtukana ilikuwa Wajaluo, anamwambia aache umafi. So he has to rationalize. This is what happens even during genocide. During Rwanda, the Rwandan genocide. For them to be able to perpetuate genocide on the Hutus and moderate Tutsis, for the Tutsis and moderate Hutus, sorry, they had to demonize, they had to dehumanize them first of all, so as to radicalize the people who will eventually execute the genocide. So what did they start doing? They started using the radio station of this guy called Felicien Kabuga. They started using it to perpetuate the myth that these people, wanaitwa nyenze, they are cockroaches. So we have to get rid of these cockroaches. Understand? They started calling them cockroaches. In the Moi era, William Olentimama used to call the people, the outsiders who are in Masawi land, when you wameuziwa mashamba huko, alikuwa anawauza, anaita madoadoa. Hii madoadoa lazima tuitoe. The same thing with William Ruto was doing during the 2007-2008 post-election violence. So for Raila Odinga to rationalize the fact, first of all, to sell himself the lie that he made the right choice by joining a government to defend a war criminal, he has to, the people he was motivated, the people he was baited to join against, sorry, you just give me a second. Don't worry, I have a photographic memory. I cannot be distracted. I will always revert from where I was. So the only way he can rationalize is he has to start now a process of dehumanizing the very people whom he was baited, so as to convince himself and his people that he made the right choice. The people already are telling him, you made the wrong choice by joining this war criminal. The young boys did not die for you to get positions. But him now to rationalize and to convince and to hoodwink the people that he made the right choice, now he needs all these vessels. And so even Mbanya, that's where Akina Mbanya come in. So that back and forth between Mbanya and Gaucho, it will entertain you and create this illusion that we have ethnic fault lines, which don't exist. Remember, we are tribeless, leaderless, partyless. They conveniently trying to suppress that from our collective conscience. They are trying to blur that from our image, from our DNA, so that we can revert back to the same accessories of corruption, which is weaponized tribalism. We can revert and hold on to that and even entertain it in our intimate spaces. Remember, X is our intimate spaces. We were never supposed to come here to entertain political garbage. They are not short of platforms. But why are they coming to? Because they need to perpetuate the myth that this is us. This is our default settings, which it is not. We have constantly told them that we are leaderless, tribeless, and partyless, but they want you to forget that. They want you. They are trying to suppress that from collective memory. You understand? So, for Raila Odinga to rationalize the psychotic decision that he made last year to join a war criminal, he has to constantly now have these dogs, the backing dogs of his, to tout all of these anti-Kikuyu sentiments. You understand? So, again, we are leaderless, we are tribeless, we are partyless. I need you to hold that, to flaunt it as a badge of honor. I need you to move around with it and own it, because what we achieved last year is phenomenal. I spent 10 years during the Uhuru era, and they kept telling us that revolution haiwezi happen. Haiwezi happen. Akina Itumbi were the ones who were telling haiwezi happen. It happened. We have hit the height of self-actualization. Ain't nobody gonna tell you that you ain't the shit. Every day you wake up, you say you are the shit. You did what they said, what they had claimed is impossible. You achieved it. Uniting against a common cause, against for a common purpose. You understand? You united and rallied around one cause, and that cause is good governance. Now they are trying to make it all about tribes, about what? At the end of the day, they are distracting you. Akinambanya have been paid. This whole distraction mechanism, is to distract you from Sunday's headline where you have seen 1.3 trillion has gone missing. I saw Mbanya. Have you noticed Mbanya's voice today is hoarse? You look at his videos for today, his voice is hoarse. Yesterday, he was online for 24 hours. He was live for 24 hours. I've never seen that in my life. Anytime I was logging in, I'm seeing Mbanya is online. So the chums has been given, the money has been given to keep people distracted. The main headline that they are distracting you from is what? Is what we saw. 1.3 trillion has been stolen between June and February. That is the whole, even this campaign that they did in Nairobi the other day. Going to the villages and hiring goons. All of it is to distract you from the fact that they have stolen 1.3 trillion. That is the conversation that we should be having right now on this app. We should be talking about how did 1.7 trillion disappear, 1.3 trillion disappear. Once you understand that everything that you see is smoke and mirrors, you will be so rooted in our fundamental principles. Our fundamental principles is, number one, leaderless, tribeless, partyless. You say that in your head every morning you wake up. Number two, we are not saying Ruto must go so that we replace him with another despot, with another lunatic, with a retiree like David Maraga. Where was David Maraga before June? He should have started talking before June if he was serious. Or Mtata. We are doing something called structural and institutional reforms after Ruto goes. You understand? We are doing something called institutional and structural reform, which will be overseen by a caretaker government. Caretaker government will be having something like the LSK, wanatuma their representative, the lawyers, the engineers, the what. Every interest group will be represented in that caretaker government so that we harmonize a new constitution, and it will be done online. We don't need to go to bombers. Those boomers went to bombers to pass us a new constitution. And between 2013 and today, we have reverted back to a one-party state. We are now a glorified democracy, yes. But that's on paper. Officially, we are a one-party state. We have reverted back to how we were in 1978 after spending all that money, all that time to go to bombers. We queued for a new constitution, but these guys have consistently mutilated. That's why I've told you, don't trust boomers, don't trust the old generation. The old generation are all about their children, their grandchildren, generational wealth for their children and grandchildren. They are not about legacy. They are not about posterity. You understand? So this illusion that Mbanya is creating of you of Kikuyu exceptionalism. They're telling you, they even used to tout themselves as the Jews of Kenya. Why are they the real Jews are feeding themselves from a desert? This guy, if you go to Mount Kenya, if you go to the towns in Mount Kenya, it's just alcoholism. You just see guys there drinking alcohol in the streets. In between, there is no nightlife. In between Nairobi, the next place that you're going to find a vibrant nightlife is Nanyuki. All the towns in between are dead. Moranga is dead. Nyeri is dead. Thika is dead. Kirinyaga is dead. Maybe Embu has some semblance of nightlife. Embu maybe. Meru is dead. The only place you can find a semblance of nightlife or even a middle class, having a middle class, people who are buying apartments, buying what, you will never find them anywhere in between Nairobi and Nanyuki. Nanyuki is where now the investors have gone with real estate. They are building houses that can be sold here and there, and the plans, everything. So these towns are dead. Anyone who is selling you the fictitious narrative of Kikuyu exceptionalism is lying to you. You understand? anyone who is telling you that this community is special more than the others is lying to you. We know the truth. We are on the ground. You praise Didi Nyoro for building 2 ablution blocks, not a factory that will create employment. And you're there making him trend. Oh, Didi Nyoro can be president. That's rubbish, man. Go to those places, you see the roads. Go to those places, you see the poverty reeking. And where is the money going? It is being stolen by the elites. The elites who are then now paying their foot soldiers, the likes of Mbanya, to craft the illusion of Kikuyu supremacy, Kikuyu exceptionalism. You're being made to feel special while in reality, you are nobodies. Your land, all your productive land and the illusion, the gated communities which are projected to show that Kiambu, first of all, is very, very lucrative, very vibrant, very very developed. They are all in the hands of private capital. It is Northlands owned by the Kenyatta family. It is Tatu City owned by some Russian investors called whatever. It is Tilisi owned by Muzungus. It is Miga owned by also some foreigners there in between. Fika Greens was owned by some. You see, all of it, the prosperity is in the hands of few people, is not in the hands of the masses. But they create the illusion that the prosperity of the Kenyatta family is the prosperity of the Kikuyus. No, the Kikuyus are oppressed because of the existence of the Kenyatta family. Reborn Solomon is asking a question. He's saying, point us now at a certain direction. Let's start imagining. I want you to imagine that you will be the next leader. You will be the next women rep. You will be the next president. You will be the next senator. You understand? I want you to imagine, I want you to believe it in yourself so that you stop promoting these retarded old bastards of politicians. You stop giving them airtime. You stop giving them interactions. Anytime you interact with the post of Mbanya, you're giving him traction. And you're aiding in your own oppression. It's like last year. Last year, you look at the protests, you look at Hanifa, you look at Boniface Mwangi, you look at Morara. They were all heavily funded by Kenyans, especially those in diaspora. So and these guys were our biggest distractors. They were our biggest pacifists. So you are funding your own oppression. So every time you interact with a post meant to gaslight you, meant to project you as a tribalist, you very well know you are not a tribalist. You very well know you're not a whatever. You're not a whatever. Anything that you have been accused of, you know you're not that. Why would you interact with a post that is projecting you, that is crafted to gaslight you along those lines? You understand? Daisy explains. Thank you very much. I've missed you very much. We started this shit together. I don't know what happened in between, but let's continue. Now you are seeing these whole stories of chapos. The influencers who have been quiet all along, they have been silent. They never talk about bad governance, or they never do skits about bad governance. Even Jogosh stopped. He used to do them at some point, he stopped. The ones who don't use satire, irony, sarcasm, they don't use that, but they use it to sanitize or to normalize or to desensitize bad policies or bad governance. Now all of them have jumped on the chapati bandwagon. All of these are distractions. So anyone you're seeing, one of the influencers or comedians who has jumped on the chapati bandwagon is on the payroll. Influencers, they don't do anything by coincidence. So your work is to remain focused. I was telling you, so back to Kikuyu exceptionalism. The Mount Kenya people have been fed with the lie that they're the Jews of Kenya, but all their land is in the hands, all their productive land is in the hands of select individuals. If we talk about in Nanyuki and those areas like Kipia and Rumuruti, it's in the hands of those Muzungus who masquerade as conservationists. If we talk about in Kiambu, is in the hands of private capital. This was land that was supposed to be distributed to freedom fighters. So they have been crafted with the illusion of prosperity, of exceptionalism, that they are better than their brothers in Western or Nyanza, based on the prosperity of a few. But if you go to Mount Kenya right now, Gen Z Buddy is here. She's from her home country. She'll tell you the issue of youth delinquency, alcoholism. It is rife in Mount Kenya counties. You will go to Mount Kenya counties, there are no street lights at night. You cannot walk. There's no safety. There's no middle class. There's no development going on there. There's no factories. There's not a single industry that has been opened in Mount Kenya. But they are telling you that they are the Jews of Kenya. How? How can they be Jews of Kenya? You're being sold for a lie. You are being baited on it. You're believing you're getting high on your own supply. That is essentially what is happening. And they are building these false tales of prosperity, but that prosperity is in the hands of a few people. It's in the hands of the Kenyatta family criminal enterprise. It's in the hands of the Muzungus who bought 1 acre of land at 1 million shillings, and now they are selling an eighth or a quarter. They're selling a quarter for 40 million Kenya shillings. That wealth, that property, that money, that prosperity is going out of the country. You're having capital theft, using land that is supposed to be communal owned. But you are being convinced that just because you've seen a few gated communities there, that is your prosperity. No, that's not your prosperity. John says, which way to go now as Kenyans work on a depression? Sahi, we need direction. Listen, I need you to remain grounded on the fundamentals that united us. So the ties that bind us should override whatever other distractions they are throwing at you. I need you to be focused on that the primary fundamentals that bind us together is that we are leaderless, we are tribeless, and we are partyless. And that will be the case until we have an institutional and structural overhaul. All these people who are trying to front political parties, political outfits, they're trying to tell us, oh, ati tuko na chama. Oh, niko na chama naanzia. That was not the objective of the protest. Tulikuwa supposed tuingie to finish kumalo. Tuingie pale nini bunge, state house. Tulikuwa tuingie to finish kumalo. How that has extended to everything that we are seeing today, creating the rise of these charlatans like Mbanya, that was not part of the original objective. So you need to go back to the original objective. What were we discussing? We were discussing debts. We were discussing taxes. We were discussing policy. We were discussing governance. You understand? Daisy tells you, look in the mirror. That is your leader looking back at you. Thank you. Thank you, Daisy. You understand? What the glue that bound us last year, that is our fundamental grounding. That is our foundation. So anytime you feel challenged, anytime you feel depressed, anytime you feel gaslit, you just take yourself back. In fact, don't even, let me tell you what you do. Let me tell you what you do. Let me tell you now, this is what you do. Go to your photo galleries. From June 14th, all the videos that are stored in your photo gallery, when you're bored, when you're free, when you're not doing anything, you're on your bed, just scroll them. You're going to see all the videos from Maandamano and how we were united. You're going to see all the content that you've forgotten existed. I need you, and it's still in your photo gallery. You understand? It's still in your photo gallery right now. So that's what I need you to do. I need you, at your free time, when you're sleeping, you just scroll back to your photo gallery and see all the beautiful content, all the beautiful memories that we made last year, June. That will remind you of where you have come from. It's like, again, back to relationships. Whenever you're having an issue or a crisis, or you're feeling like you want to leave your partner and go back to the streets because anangorota, we were anangorota sana, huyu sijui nini huyu. Unaenda kwa streets tu kupatana na watu wanangorota, but when you feel compelled to now embark on a cheating journey, you go back to your SMSs, you look at alinitumia hii message, alinitumia. Unaenda kwa M-Pesa unaangalia, alinitumia M-Pesa. Unaenda kwa nini unaona alinifanyia hivi. Unaangalia the photos you took together, the memories you made together, and that will kind of give you an inkling of what you are living, what you're sacrificing. So before you onboard, before you board these tribal bandwagons by Mbanya and Gaucho and whatever, I implore you to go to your photo galleries and then go to June. In fact, for the whole month of June, because the content started way earlier, even before the protest dates. Start looking at what people were saying, everything, the memories. You see yourself in the protests, for those of you who participated. See the memories, see the love from strangers, see the what, see the first days, ulikuwa unaenda hoteli, mnapewa maji, mnapewa mkahawa, until they started bringing goons. It's them who tainted the initial spirit of the protest, because now they funded goons. You understand? Ezi massage therapist anasema, I think tapeleka kura yangu Thika. I'm not buying in Thika, by the way. Eddie Brown is saying, I wish people like you ran for president. It depends on people like you not being distracted by the current crop of boomers and idiots who are distracting you every day with their nonsensical sideshows. It's called MC Assemble. MC Assemble anasema Matiang'i tosha, ende useme hivyo kwa mamako, ende useme hivyo kwa nyanyako. Uko na followers, enda uambie hiyo upuzi. Unakuja kutuambia upuzi hapa nini? You understand? So you go back to your photo galleries. You can also scroll on your social media pages. You'll get to where June was. You now see the memories, the happiness, the joy. You understand? You're going to see Nini. You're going to remember where we came from. You understand? You're going to remember what you're sacrificing by boarding yourself, by reacting, by responding to all these gaslight mechanisms, which the source is Rigathi Gachagua, who is still on the payroll of government. You understand? So that is all I wanted to tell you for the moment. You are going to see a lot of activity. You're going to see people. I'm telling you, Mbanya's voice is hoarse. He was online yesterday. He was live for 24 hours. What incentive would there surely be for you to be live for 24 hours on a weekday? Since when? Tangu lini? Ulisikia wapi? Unaona mtu hapa anaitwa Ankodi Makena. Kitambo, I hated you for fighting everyone and everything, but now I can see you make a lot of sense. Don't hate me because other people are tooling you, other people are gaslighting you to hate me. Please don't. Listen to me. I had even people who have dated in the past and who we are friends today. Initially, when they met me, they were so, because I told you I'm an acquired taste. Like, you have to chill with me, you have to stay with me and understand me before you see me for who I am. But because I don't speak the language, I don't preach the gospel of likability. I don't want you to like me. I want you to relate. I want to be heard because I have my truth. And I cannot speak my truth when I'm conforming to clique mentality, when I'm conforming to status quo mentality. I will never give my story. Everyone, you have your own unique story. We are all individuals of unique identity. So I will never give out my story. Yule ilienda wapi? Ilienda na maandamano. Ilienda na maandamano. Ilienda na maandamano. I will never give out my story if all I want you to do is to like me, because If my objective is for you to like me, then I will tell you what you want to hear. I will never tell you what you want to hear. I've never told even my friends what they want to hear. I've never been liked even in my clique of friends. They've never liked me. They've never loved me. Because I have always been speaking my truth. Now, whether it takes you 10 years or 1 year or 6 months or 1 week to relate, that's based on your IQ. That's your IQ. And you can train yourself to have a very sharp IQ by starting to follow people who challenge conventional thought, the contrarians. That's how I avoided to be injected by the poison called the COVID vaccine, because I was following contrarians. People, Lily has sent me a heart. Thank you. I don't know what it means, but thank you very much. The contrarians are the ones who started poking holes and saying, vaccine, vaccine. There's something wrong. When we do the mRNA, they have really fast-tracked it. Normally, an mRNA vaccine like this one is supposed to have gone a minimum of 10 years. How was it fast-tracked? So me, I started following contrarians from an early age. You understand? So you people, because you're trained, obviously, to go after celebrities, people who entertain you, who laugh you, people who are with you, they will never challenge your thought. They will never be the mirror to your weaknesses, to your shortcomings. Because I am here to be the mirror to your shortcomings. I am here to tell you what you don't want to see to yourself. Every day, because of following contrarians, I am faced with that reality that I am human, I am weak, I make mistakes, but also it reinforces my convictions that I am right, that whatever we are living in is a simulation. All of this is a script. All of this, we have controlled opposition. We've never had opposition in the country. Raila, since his story, and the evidence is so glaring and in your face, but you still choose to deliberately ignore it. So if you can train yourself, to whatever. This is truly. Let me just give me a second to block him. I'll not whatever. I'll not be distracted. So, and Kwanzaa, he has 5 followers. So these are the NIS bots. Train yourself to block them. The people who come to push agenda on your comment sections, they are very important. Instead of switching off, it's hard initially because there are so many, but then you start getting the hang of it. Like now, mine are reducing on X. They could have been 50% when people used to tell me, oh, but now they're 10% because there are 5,000 people I've blocked so far. Because all of these are bot accounts. They add no value to the conversation that you're trying to trigger. Thank you very much, Vix. So for you to train your IQ, you have to learn to follow contrarians, people who challenge you, people who give you an insight to your soul, how dark your soul is. We all have some element of darkness within ourselves. So when you follow these people, they highlight, and then you understand to be a better person, a better partner, a better father, a better mother, a better sister, an available friend. Because then you're not entitled. Because all of us are predisposed to whatever vices that the DNA has been encoded to us. We have to deliberately make ourselves humans who can coexist with others. You understand? We have to. I saw there's was it Makteja yesterday? No, it wasn't Makteja. It was Osoro Fafamokoro on X. He did a post by another lady called Shiko, and Shiko was saying, "Where are the single married men?" Now, the single married men exist. The single married men are a dime a dozen. But the establishment has told you and created barriers to shield you from each other so that wherever you're going, the only people you're interacting with are married men, if you're a woman. Those are the only people you're interacting with. It's by such a genius social design, social architecture it is, so that you're shielded. Instead of listening to Gaitho, you are there on the media listening to your very oppressors and paying them mind. So all of this is deliberate. You have to unfuck yourselves. You have to unfuck yourself. Because the establishment, the society is stacked against you. You understand? It's stacked against you because from the education, from the media you consume, there is such a lack of options and diversity. You listen to Classic 105 with Maina and Kingangi, you are listening to 20 songs on heavy rotation. 20 songs. While every day there are new artists which are coming up. Even here on TikTok, when you're using your sounds, you let the algorithm choose for you because you're too lazy to select and choose new artists, upcoming artists of Kenya. Everything. You are too lazy for that. You are regurgitating what the mainstream media has platformed. You see, like me right now, I should be having probably 1 million followers. But what does the following in Kenya mirror? It mirrors, if you go on JKL, your following goes up. If you appear on breakfast shows like Morara and Caswell are going, your following goes up. So you people are forever held hostage by the people who are foisted on mainstream media, as opposed to you researching and going deep and finding, oh, there is this person who exists. There is this person who is making sense. You understand? There is this person who is giving me knowledge beyond what I hear from Githeri media. Why don't I give him a follow? Why don't I give him the benefit of doubt? So unfucking yourself, elevating your IQ is a deliberate process. We have so many literate people, but Dwanzis, these are zombies, these are robots. Anyone wakes up and decides to push an agenda, they are on board because they don't even know what they are being strung into. You understand? So the rooting of our fundamentals has to be so strong inside you that you will never be shaken by all the tribal, ethnic rhetoric that is being pushed by Mbanya and their surrogates. You have, and I told you the best place to start, please go back to your photo gallery. Start from June, scroll, enjoy the viewing. You're going to be happy. It's going to reset your mind. Reset everything in your mind. You're going to remember how happy we were, how united we were. Before this, Gachagua motherfucker came out of nowhere and started promoting tribalism. He's not doing it for Mount Kenya people. He's doing it for his own benefit. So before you leave your loving partner to go on a cheating spree because you think the streets have something to offer, you normally go, you watch social media, you watch the photos, everything. These were good times. We're just going through a lull. We're just going through something. In the same light is uniting a tribalism. Wow. Jerry Maguire, ask your mother those stupid questions. Yeah, we are uniting Kenyans. You're not uniting tribes. Ask your mother such stupid questions. Let me block you so that you can push such agenda on your followers. I've seen you have few followers. You have go and ask those questions to your mother. You understand? So we have to be rooted. We have to be grounded on that very objective. Now, as I wind up, the people in Githurai, the people who take screenshots, the people who take videos, where are you? Where are my people who take screen recordings so that they post on their TikToks? So I want you to take a screen recording of this. Githurai, we are occupying Jesus Winner tomorrow in Roysambu. Even if you don't make it to the Roysambu, you're going to occupy the roads in your estate. If you're in Kasarani, if you're in Mwiki, if you're in Mwehoko, if you're in Kamiti Road, if you're in Roysambu, you're in Zimmerman, you're in 44, you're where, you're in Kawasukari, you're whatever, you're going to occupy the roads there because we are occupying Jesus Winner. And this time round, musiende kama mumeingia kanisa, musiingia kanisa kwa sababu huko ndio mulipatwa na mapolisi, mobilize from outside. You mobilize from outside and then you move as a group. Now the best way to move is you move with groups kutoka kwa estate. Mnatoka kwa estate pamoja, ili mkiona mtu amjui mnajua huyu ni polisi ametumwa hapo. So mtoke kwa estates pamoja, mkiwa watu 10 in groups 5 10, mtoke kwa estate pamoja, mukae nje, muengage mapolisi kutoka nje. Mmesikia? You engage from outside, don't go, musingia kwa church until mumesubdue polisi, muingie kwa church sasa kabisa, muone polisi wote wamerudi. Lakini mukienda now, secondly, those police kitu wanataka ni simu, wanataka content creator. So if you are content creator going to shoot content, make sure unakaa chonjo. Make sure unakaa Akram, wacha ni kublock uende ulize mamako hizo swali. Umbwa wewe mamako. You move, mukae nje, muengage mapolisi kutoka nje from the outside. Wengine mko kwa barabara. Now also the people, the residents of this area, kesho msianze kutusumbua that you are not aware. This is going to happen. We already talked about it. Occupy Jesus Winner season 2 tuliongea about it. You understand? So tomorrow bado tuko site, kesho tuko site. Occupy Jesus Winner 2 tuko site, kesho msikose. Please, I need you, the people who do screen recording. The people who do the screen recording, huyu anaitwa Imani umetoka wapi? Ole. The people who whatever, kesho tuko site, Occupy Jesus Winner tuko site. Meeting point, hakuna meeting point. Wewe kaa ukijua, because there are too many infiltrators. Wewe toka na group yako. Mutoke, musiende less than 5 people, muende pamoja. So that it will be easier mujue the traitor, kwa sababu mukiona watu mtu foreign, and then munajua vile polisi wanakanga. Lakini musiingie kanisa. Musijaribu kuingia kanisa. Please, are you screen recording this? Please, screen record this. Hakuna kuingia kanisa, munakaa nje, mutaengage polisi kutoka nje, and then musubdue polisi, and then muingie ndani as a group. Lakini usiende kwa sababu utaenda utuangiwe huko ndani. Usijaribu kuingia ndani. That was the mistake we made last Sunday. So if you are screen recording this, kesho, please screen record this, because I need you to share it on your WhatsApp group. I need you to share it on your TikTok. Kesho, 16th of March, Occupy Jesus Winner 2. Lakini musingie kanisa. Mukae nje, mupambane na polisi kutoka nje, alafu muwasubdue, muwafukuze, muwapige, muwatwange. Mkisikia mtachoma gari zao, well and good, mnaweza beba zile molotov cocktail and what not, muingie ndani only after you have subdued them. Lakini ukienda kuingia peke yako, utashikwa na utatwangwa. Watachukua kamera yako, watachukua gadgets zako. Wako na haja sana na gadgets. Kwanza za content creators wako na haja nazo sana. Kwa hivyo mukae nje, mupambane nao nje. Wale mtaona plain clothes wakishika mtu, mkiona mtu ameshikwa, mnaenda mnamdefend asishikwe na asipelekwe police station. Mkipata mtu ameshikwa, mnatumia DM hapa TikTok kama X. Kutweet haraka. Watu wengine barabara Thika Road, wengine Roysambu, Zimmerman, anywhere, wewe mahali huko, hata pipeline, watu wa paipu. Haya, tuko pamoja. Tomorrow, leo, I don't want to mix stories, mix agendas. Kesho, musisahau, Occupy Jesus Winner season 2, hiyo pesa 20 million alichukua. Wameongea sana na kiburi, wakasema hawezi rudisha, wakasema shamba ni yao, wakasema pesa ni zao, hawarudishi. Ni uliona hako kasichana ka youth leader ka hiyo church. Hatuwezi kaacha kaende hivyo without being challenged. No. Muliona Kabuda huyu jamaa mnono ati anaongea hapo kwa sababu yeye ni influencer wa hiyo church. Tangu lini ushaisikia church iko na influencer mnono ati anaitwa Kabuda? Tangu lini? Kwa hivyo Mwai hajarudisha pesa. Turudi huko, tunaendea pesa. Hiyo pesa lazima arudishe. Hiyo pesa ni ya taxpayers money. Kwa hivyo kesho, Occupy Jesus Winner season 2. Are we together? Sijui kama umerecord, uambie genge yako ya huko, watu wa hiyo area, nani, even people from elsewhere, ukienda pale usiingie church please, mnakaa nje muojionee vile mambo inaendelea. Sawa? Mkiona kabuda mtwange yeye. Kasia ya mtu anatuongelesha aje, na ni clout sisi tumempea. They have given him clout. These guys will give them clout and then they think they give themselves clout. Kwa hivyo kesho Occupy Jesus Winner 2. Secondly, Getahi umefanya vizuri kunikumbusha watu wa Eldoret. If you are in Eldoret, hebu kwanza chukua hii screen recording saa hii nikiongea. Nikiongea saa hii hebu chukua hii screen recording. Eldoret tuna occupy nini? Occupy AIC Annex. I-connect na nini? Timber XO. Musiingie kwa church, mupambane na polisi wakiwa yuko nje, mtwange, hata mnaweza twanga pia Timber XO na nini. Lakini musiingie ndani, mupambane nao, muwasubdue and then muingie ndani after muone mumefukuza polisi wote. Muingie ndani sasa mfanye chenye mnataka. Mmesikia? Mumesikia? Watu wa Eldoret na Roysambu, kesho tuko site, but you remember you can participate from wherever you are. You can participate. Funga barabara, choma taya. We uliona watu wa Roysambu vile walituwakilisha last time. You can participate. Don't be left out. Alafu mchunge hao polisi wanakuja kwa estate, the men especially. Wanaume mtoke, mchunge wasichana na watoto wenyu. Protect the women and the children. So the man ufai kuwa kwa nyumba kesho na ni siku ya maandamano na polisi wanakuja wanarusha tear gas ndani ya ploti yenyu na uko hapo tu unajiita mwanaume. Wewe ni mwanaume aina gani? Mwanaume kumbafu, mwanaume mafi. Utoke. Muna defend maploti zenyu, muna defend mabibi zenyu, watoto wenyu. That was the work of the men since time immemorial. Sasa wewe uko ndani hapo unanyonga tu hapo na mapono, unanyonga tu. Unanyonga kwa nini? Toka, you defend, stand for your right. There is no other opportunity that will come better than this one. Wakileta goons, wewe niachie mambo ya goons. Wewe unaona jana tuliba this week tumebabaisha Ruto paka aka cancel trip yake ya Githurai. Nini unachezanga na sisi? Nini unachezanga na sisi? Tumebabaisha Ruto tukamwambia wewe nini tuko na watu tumepanga. Si unaleta goons kutoka Kibera, si unaleta hao goons wa ODM na sisi tutakuwa na jeshi. Tumembabaisha paka akaogopa kukuja Githurai. Nini wewe mnashindanga huku mumeingizwa baridi na magoons kadhaa. Wewe nikipata goon mwenye naweka namba yake ya simu na hata kule anaishi, utaona wananyamaza. Goons wanakuanga confidence sana wakiwa na mob psychology. Akienda kwake kwa nyumba anakuanga mtu muoga sana. Umesikia? Umesikia? So msiogope. Ruto tumemchanga. Ruto tulimwambia wewe umekuwa nini sasa? Ati unaleta goons. Unajua hii goons alileta Mathare. Hiyo ilipata watu off guard. Hatukuwa we weren't familiar with their game. Lakini hii sasa tulikuwa tumepanga watu wa Githurai, tumewaambia nyinyi fungeni duka, hata msipeleke watoto hii shule, wacha tupambane na hawa goons. Wallahi billahi Ruto jana hakuenda. Hiyo sio win. We are making so many small wins. You guys are just being gaslit. We are making wins every day. Me, I can see them, I can feel them. Everything that has happened in our political establishment was because of the Gen Z movement. It is us who has engineered these coalitions zote wanatengeneza overnight. Leo wanafanya hivi, kesho wanafanya hivi. Ni sisi. Things which have never happened since time immemorial. Nini mmejikosea nini? Mumeji underestimate hivyo, mumeji underrate hivyo. Tuko juu my friend. Tuko juu. Tuko tops. Hawa watu wanatetemeka wakisikia social media. Wanatetemeka hivi, wanajikojolea wakisikia tu social media. Kwa sababu ya nini? Kwa sababu we have mastered their game. Sasa sijui unaona vile tulifanya Kasongo, tulimwambia umeleta goons Mathare. Hakuna goon hata mmoja ameshikwa. Mabloga tu ndio wanashikangwa, si ndio tunashikangwa goons ikikuja goons DCI wametana blind eye. Wametana blind eye. Lakini bloggers saa hiyo DCI walikuja kwangu walikuwa 10. Watu 10, mtu 10. lakini hawa hawajui ni nani aliiba masimu, hawajui, they don't know anything. So saa zenye na sisi tukaona hivi, since these people don't want to protect us, we have to protect ourselves. So nikaambia watu wa Githurai kesho, I did it on Thursday, nikamwambia kesho funga duka, kesho watoto wasiende shule, na nyinyi mkuwe na vijana wenyu mmejipanga kupambana na hawa goons wameletwa kutoka Kibera, kutoka wa ODM. Nao wa ODM wanakuanga wametetemeka hivi. Hao goons wa ODM wanakuanga wametetemeka hivi wakisikia ati wanaenda materitory kama Githurai. Wanajua huko sio kubaya. Wanajua and then Ruto anataka kwenda Githurai kwenda kulipisha kwa sababu wanajua Githurai is the only place yenye inaweza mtopple. Aliona zile numbers zenye watu walikuwa wamewalk kutoka Githurai time ya June 25th, akajua hii ndio mtaitaniangusha. So watu wa Githurai, kama kuna watu wamefanya tusikue na maandamano na tusikue na revolution, watu wa Githurai. Watu wa Githurai mumetuangusha. Please, kwa sababu mumetuangusha, kwa sababu mulijenda kujifungia kwa nyumba mkauliwa na mapolisi, mili zenyu zikatapakaishwa huko kwa Kware kama zimekatakatwa, kwa sababu mnajua mumetukosea katika hiyo nyanja. Saa hii nataka nimwambie kesho mkue occupy Jesus winner, alafu tutapanga siku ile tutaenda State House na tutapanga pamoja na tutaenda pamoja. Haleluya. Goons, Mafuaka amesema goons endeni muone mchomwe. Endeni kama wewe ni goon umetairi. Kama wewe ni goon wa ODM na umetairi, wewe enda kesho upeleke hiyo mafi yako. Mavijana wako tayari. Kama sisi tulifanya Ruto mwenyewe asiende Githurai, wewe whomsta you? Wewe ndio nani? Wewe mama yako ni nani? Ati ufikiri ati utatutisha? Ufikiri ati utatutisha? Huyu anasema Ruto is the best president we have in Kenya. Huyu aende ambie mamake. Kesho mko tayari mavijana? Kesho occupy Jesus winner season 2. Kesho tuko gangari, kesho tuko site. Kesho tuna finish kumalo. Msiingie kanisa, mngoje, mupambane na mapolisi huku nje, mupambane nao, msukumane, itakuwa running battles, msukumane, boom. Paka waende, wakienda sasa muingie kwa church, muhubiriwe na mufanye praise and worship. Sawa? Asanteni sana, nimekaa na nyinyi 2 hours. Mimi sio mbanya ati nimelipwa 1 million na NIS nikuje kumchangamsha. Huyu ni nani? Huyu anaitwa YouTube Trends. Acha nikuonyeshe, ni kublock. Asante. Mko site, kesho tuko site. Kesho tuko site. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana, nimekaa 2 hours. Nimemwambia mimi sijalipwa 1 million ama 2 millions kama nini, kama mbanya jana alikaa 24 hours. Mimi hata sijaisikia mtu amekaa 24 hours. Even the people who created the app itself, they have never been on the app for 24 hours. Yeah, hata sauti hana. Hii pesa ni ya cast money. Already mbanya hata ako na sore throat kwa sababu ya kuongea jana because of cast money. Cast money by mbanya to hype tribal whatever fault lines. Pesa ya damu haitakupeleka mahali. Utaona vile hiyo 1 million itaisha haraka. Utaona kabradhe. Kwa hivyo thank you very much. I hope kuna watu wamerecord, utapost, utaona hizo vitu kwa wenye hawakuona. I hope this thing will remain online. I don't even forgot how this thing occupies operates, sorry. Nimechizi na jina occupy. Kwa hivyo kesho occupy Jesus winner 2. Occupy AIC Annex Eldoret. Tuko site. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. Thank you TikTok, you gave me a platform when all other places had censored me. I love this app, I love this platform. Hata ukiona nimemhepa nimeenda X, ni kwa sababu hapa hata ukienda uangalia video nyingine nilikuwa nimefanya hapo iko muted. So there's too much censorship on this app. I'd love to be here more often, but I will try nikuwe nafanya live hata kama ni 3 in a week. Asanti. Huyo ananiambia nisifunge live niende wapi? My friend, sahi wacha nitulie mimi. Nimekwambia anything beyond this diminishing returns from here kwa sababu the main message has already gone. So from here it's just diminishing returns. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a good weekend. Occupy Jesus Winner 2 tomorrow. Occupy AIC Annex Eldoret. Thank you very much. I love you, everyone who is here. Good night.